Welcome back to the channel. Today we are looking at the newest Ken Carson album called Experiment. I've never been the biggest fan of Ken Carson, but I did go into this listen with very open ears, and I have to say I was not disappointed because I had low expectations, but, it's not good. Anyway, before I get into that, you guys need to subscribe. No one watching this is subscribed. Promise me. I promise. I know. So, you need to subscribe, and while you're doing that, like, comment, do all that other good stuff. Pretty please, I beg, 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 beg. It helps the channel out, helps me out, college student. Help me out. I love you guys. Let's get into the actual discussion of the album. Experiment is first problem. I have this problem with every single Ken Carson project is that they're all too long. 20 plus songs of just Ken Carson. Are we insane? Second thing, this is the probably the most that Ken Carson has sounded like Future. He sounds like Future the entire project. There was a song at one point, I think it was The Ritual maybe, where, or no, it was Gynecologist, I think, where I actually thought that there was a Future feature, only to look at my phone and be like, oh, there wasn't one. That's just Ken. He sounds just like Future. Production wise, I have to say this album is pretty good, as are most Ken Carson projects. The production on 90% of it all is pretty solid. I feel like I liked more songs than what Spotify is telling me, but maybe I actually didn't. Uh, Now, I will say feature wise, there are a few features on here. There's two Hollis, a couple Playboy Cardis, Lil Uzi, Young Thug, Destroy Lonely, of course, typical Ken Carson features. None of them do necessarily bad. I don't like Two Hollis, but Playboy Cardi's fine on his songs. Uzi and Young Thug are the best parts of their song, and Lonely is the best part of his song. Both of those are, I mean, they're fine. They're nothing crazy. They're okay, I guess. Apologies for my lisp, by the way. I have a mouth sore on the bottom of my tongue, and like every time I can't fully commit to what I'm saying because it hurts too bad. So, like, I've kind of just been like holding it back a little bit. Anyway, I have to say this album, because of how long it is, and because of how non-different it is to anything Ken Carson has ever done. It's about the same thing. If you've listened to his last projects, you're going to get the same thing from this one, which on paper isn't that bad of an idea or that bad of a thing until you're listening to it and you realize you think you've been listening to it for 30 minutes, but you've really only been listening to 5 minutes. You're about three songs in because they all sound the exact same. That none of them sound different. This sounds like almost a very phoned in Ken Carson album, almost like a very like kind of just made 20 songs without any like difference in them at all. 22, sorry to be exact, 1 hour of Ken Carson, which is just golly, it's so much to listen to in a row. Now, I will admit, I'll be a little easier on this album. I listened to it while I was at work. Now, usually I try not to listen to albums while I'm at work because I think that can maybe, like, especially if I'm busy at work, it can kind of take away from my attention on the album. However, with an album like Ken Carson, or like Experiment by Ken Carson, like any Ken Carson project, I don't think that they require that much attention to understand what's being made. He's not saying anything lyrically, he's not doing anything sound wise, it's just boring, bland rage music. And, that's kind of been my opinion on Ken for a while. That, yeah, he'll have a couple cool songs that are mostly carried by the beats. He'll have a few of those like SS or Fighting My Demons or Ghoul or Pyro. I think it's Pyro's the name of the one on his last project that I like, that one in Ghoul. You have like two songs per album where just he's doing a good flow and the beat's really good and it just makes a pretty good song. Somehow makes a pretty good song, which, out of a 22 track album, I'd hope there's two that I like. You know what I mean? You would think. But at the end of the day, it on this album, I don't even have those two songs. I don't have two songs on here that I genuinely sat down and was like, I really like these two songs. All of them sound the exact same, and all of them are about as bland as you can possibly get when making a record like this from Ken Carson. And I've had that problem with him for a while, And from the looks of things, I mean, yeah, he's a young guy very early on in his music career still. It doesn't seem like that's ever gonna change. You know what I mean? He's forever gonna sound like just a Playboy Cardi spawn who's just worse. Because I think the other rapper that came up with him, Destroy Lonely, I think he's actually progressively getting better. And yeah, it might be like a little slower, but like if you look at my Destroy Lonely reviews, I think he like the last two or three that I've reviewed have got better each album. Maybe it's not a lot better, but it is better. This, I mean, if anything, this has got a little worse. I mean, I actually liked his last album better than I like this one because, like I said, Ghoul, that song produced by Pierre Bourne, is really freaking good, and Pyro's also pretty good. But then this album, like, it's just nothing. You know, there's some good beats, there's some good flows, there's an occasional like fun line here and there, but like it's all hidden just in a smorgasbord of just bland nothingness. And I just can't get behind that. Overall, I think I'm gonna give this album like a 3 out of 10, which isn't. I feel like I've been mostly negative. It might not be like as bad. Like I definitely see the appeal to an album like this. I see the appeal to Ken Carson. I really do. If he's one of your favorite rappers, I get it. I see where you're coming from. I know what you like. But just me personally, I just can't get on this train. You know what I mean? Just especially when the albums are like this. You know what I mean? If he drops a better one next year, maybe I can be in the line to the train, but not in the train. You know what I'm saying? Not on the train. But anyway, 3 out of 10 is my final rating. If you guys enjoyed the video, then I would like you to subscribe, hit the bell, comment, do all that good stuff. I'm probably going to beat your ass if you don't. So, might as well think about that before you go to bed tonight. Hope you guys are having a good day, and I love you guys.